So, hey, hi, good morning from the hill country outside of Austin, Texas. This is Dr. Susan Kay, and I am here today with Jasmine Simone of Tange Wellness, which comes out of Bethesda, Maryland, which is where her office is. And on this special day called National Hug Day, I didn't realize it. I don't know if you realized it when we made the date.
No, I didn't realize it. I forgot about it.
It's perfect. It's perfect. So Jasmine is a certified platonic touch practitioner. We're going to find out more what that means. A human connection facilitator, an NLP coach. Oh, I'm getting tired just reading all these. And in her spare time, she's on some show that's connected to, and maybe you better explain this one because it's the first I'm hearing about it. It's like a podcast radio for Twitter.
Yeah, that's kind of like what it is. It's called Spaces. It's called Spaces, and it's on Twitter. It's their way of competing with Clubhouse, which is only an Apple product. But yeah, this is the way for people to go into Twitter. You can have up to 10 speakers in one room or one space, but it's broadcast across Twitter. So anybody who has a Twitter account can listen. It's pretty cool.
So yeah. How do people find you on there? I mean, I know.
My handle is at Tange Wellness.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, good.
And so I'll be on there live this afternoon, 12 p.m. Eastern time with Sean Coleman, who's from Chicago, and she's with Our Touch Points, Cuddles and Community. Yeah, you met Sean at Mastermind.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And so how else can people find you? We might as well do that now.
Yeah, absolutely. So the best way is probably to go onto my website, www.tangewellness, that's TANGE wellness.com. And there you can find my blog and a few vlogs. I think those are still on there. And also I think it's on the top of my website are all of the different links to my social media. So Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, all that jazz.
Okay, yay. Okay, good. So now, and when you and I met last fall, like last October, because I was curious, okay, tell me what platonic touch is. I've been doing touch services for 30, 40 years. And I know what platonic means, but I didn't know how the two connected. And so just fascinated with your work and so grateful that you offer something that's a little bit different from cuddle therapy. And maybe you can elaborate and explain that, because we've kind of gotten used to cuddle therapy. I remember when that came out, everybody's like, oh yeah, what's that? Right. And now it is recognized and verified as a wellness practice. And so you've taken it another step inside of how we can reach people through touch or cuddle on a platonic basis. So
yeah, absolutely. So first I want to say thank you, Susan, for having me here on your YouTube channel, for doing this interview with me. Also, thank you so much for paving the way for people like myself coming up in this touch industry, and all that you've done, doing that heavy lifting on the front end. So the rest of us have a little bit more space to move, a little bit more freedom. And so that needs to be acknowledged as well. And I greatly appreciate that, because you have been doing this for a very long time. So that's wonderful.
Well, let's not let them know how long, just.
So I started off in 2016 as a professional cuddler, just like everybody else. And there wasn't much out there. I unfortunately had not found you yet. You know, I reached out to Dr. Tiffany Field out of the Miami University to see what kind of information she had about professional cuddling and touch. I picked up every book I could read. There just wasn't much. I read Ashley Montague's book about touch, and I read up on oxytocin, but there was only so much. And so I just kind of threw myself out there and started holding cuddle sessions. I was initially on Cuddle Comfort, and actually I'm still on Cuddle Comfort, but I started off with Snuggle Buddies, lasted only a few months there. and I think they might be out of business now.
Oh.
And then went on to Cuddle Comfort, where I really met a few other people who were open to talking about their practice and how they were being professional cuddlers and what it was like. I then came across Jean Fasbro's Cuddle Sanctuary training. And that was in 2018. And so after some consideration and talking to Jean, I flew out to California for her 3-day intensive. It was Jean and Faye as well, Faye Wyatt. And so that was a really beautiful experience because I met in person other people who were professional cuddlers, had businesses, and were actually doing the work. And that's what was really beautiful, because I finally had the confidence to come out of the proverbial cuddle closet. Prior to that, nobody knew I was doing this work besides my partner and my BFF. And everywhere I went, it was always like, shh, hush, because I was living in shame. I was so worried about what people would think. This was very different from my construction company, which is more traditional and conservative as well. So it was very different, and I didn't feel comfortable talking about it. So here I am in California with all these cuddlers, and there were even people there who wanted just to learn how to touch. One person was learning how to touch their autistic family member. Somebody else was just wanting to understand how to provide touch to their senior mother. There was somebody else who was doing Reiki and wanted to just understand more about touch. And so it was really interesting to have this experience with all these people. I learned the anatomy of a touch, and we talked a lot about things that I really had nobody else to talk about. Very unique, specific situations that only come up in session with clients. Things like, what do you do if a client starts humping your leg? How do you handle that? Early on, I was very uncomfortable and didn't really know what to do, and probably allowed it to go on longer than I should have, whereas now, well, now I don't really deal with that at all much, because I have such a very stern, I guess, or what some might think is intrusive onboarding process, just so I can meet clients, talk to them over Zoom, make sure that my services match their needs, and there isn't any crossing of boundaries or understanding of what it is I do.
So important.
It really is.
I just want to acknowledge that you stand for teaching what this work is. And so that we can continue this wave of understanding. And it starts with the practitioners being able to articulate, being able to stand for and educate what this work is. So thank you for that you're doing.
Absolutely. And you'll hear on the forums and the different groups of cuddlers that they say, what happens if this client did this to me, or this potential client asked for these kind of pictures. And somebody asked me if I smell, or most recently, if I'm on my period, if I hold sessions. And it's like, these are, they can be uncomfortable. But if you know how to handle them and you can not take them to heart and just understand it's the culture that we're dealing with. People don't understand, right?
We have to educate and not get offended. And I mean, to a point, but, I still get it with being a neck up person and a teacher.
Yeah.
But we have to just take a breath and educate. Yeah.
Yep. I was having lunch with a colleague who is, it was dinner. Anyway, I was eating with a colleague, and she's a acupuncturist and herbalist. And she says that she doesn't receive it, but some of her colleagues have, and these are people who hold, masters and doctorates, that people still ask for sexual gratification and if there's any extras. And I think sometimes people in my industry think that it's because we don't have licenses, or would these clients be asking the same thing of their doctor or their therapist or massage therapist? And the fact of the matter is, yes,
They do.
yes, it still does happen. Regardless what kind of degree you have, what licensure you have, you're still going to be approached for those kind of things. And it's unfortunate, but like you said, it's our opportunity. It's our opportunity to educate them, and so they can understand. Yeah. So let me get back to it. Once I was on the plane, or right before I got on the plane to fly back here to DC, I put it out there on Facebook. I came out, just finished cuddle training certification. And by the time, 6 hours later that I landed in DC from California, there were a lot of mixed reviews. Some people, friends and family, were like, "What are you doing? Are you kidding me?" Rolling their eyes. "What is this?" Other people were like, "Oh my gosh, I've heard about this. I read about this. Is that cuddling thing?" And so it was a mix, and it was hard. It was hard. I'd already been doing it for a couple of years and coming out and letting people know what I was doing. And, but I felt the people who were really positive and welcoming and encouraging and celebrating with me, I really held on to those people and those comments, and I didn't let the negative ones kind of bring me down. I didn't go through that, well, why can't they be more supportive, or why can't they understand? I knew what it was that I was doing and the impact I was having. So it was a celebration. So here I go into 2018 and 19, and I'm networking more. I'm getting out to different groups. I'm trying to get in front of people in senior centers and women's anxiety groups, all sorts of places, speaking at my children's elementary school about consent. That was really exciting. And at the time, during this time, I was still calling myself a professional cuddler. What I realized through this is that the word cuddle made people feel really uncomfortable. And again, this is society. I don't have anything against the word cuddle, but a lot of people, it makes them very difficult to hear anything past cuddle, because their mind immediately goes to the only experience they've ever had cuddling is usually with a partner, romantic partner, and it's either a prelude or postlude to sex. It's in there somewhere.
Yeah.
And so I realized that if I was going to reach out and grab the people and help educate those people who can't get past the word cuddle, I was going to have to approach it in a different way. I had one client who was a therapist, and I remember he used to say, if you can't get through to them, go in through the front door, go around the back door, try the side door, go in through the chimney and see if you can get through to them. The easiest way might not be, head first, this is what I'm doing and you better accept it. No, that's not my goal. My goal is to help you understand. And if I need to remove the word cuddle, then that's what I am going to do. And that's what I did. And so playing around with different titles and labels and words, I came to Platonic Touch. And because, yes, professional cuddling or cuddle therapy is part of what I offer, I also started to educate myself and include other types of touch and other types of things that I could offer within my practice. And also for people who were not ready to touch. So most recently, I had a client who, for tours in Afghanistan, works for one of the agencies in one of the law enforcement agencies in DC. And they just weren't prepared to cuddle. They were there. Let me rephrase that. They weren't prepared to touch, not even a 5-minute hug. So instead, what we did is they sat in a chair. I got on the ground, so I would be lower. It's less intimidating. It's less scary in some sense. And so I got down on the ground and I just sat there and started stretching. doing some just basic body movement and stretch. And then they got down on the ground and we started doing, what is it called? Partner yoga, where we would just move before touching, right? Because we're still not ready to touch. Yeah. And we just kind of sway in the same direction, kind of similar to polyvagal movement, right? Mm-hmm. Where you're kind of moving in the same and sharing that partner energy. Mm-hmm. And eventually we made it to sitting on the day bed, which is what I have. It's an extra long twin mattress, sitting there and holding hands and just here. But that took about an hour and a half to get to that point. You know, there was a lot of talking, which is where the human connection facilitation comes in. Being able to understand, let me rephrase that, being able to have a conversation with someone, show them that you're listening, so you're actively listening, and knowing how much information to divulge about yourself. And this is practitioner to practitioner, depending on how much information they want to give. But we know that when you share information about yourself to show your humanness, then it also helps people to relax a little bit, to offer up some information, some personal information about them. And so that's what I've learned to do over the years. And that's now why I call it Platonic Touch Therapy, or I call myself a Platonic Touch Practitioner. I'm not comfortable yet to call myself a therapist. And I don't know if I ever will. I know that's another topic where people go back and forth. Some people call themselves a cuddle therapist. Some people call themselves just a professional cuddler. So I'm a practitioner. And then the NLP was probably the best training I ever received to become a master NLP coach, because it helped me learn to listen. It helped me learn to pay attention to people's body language, to facial expressions, to hear the words that they're using to describe what they're saying, to pay attention to reactions. How are they reacting when I make a comment? Or how does their body move when they're talking about something? Do they take a deep breath and look off into the distance as they're recanting something? You know, and I'm sure you have to pay a lot of attention to this as well, is reading someone's body language to get a clue on what they're physically and mentally, emotionally experiencing. So NLP helped me tremendously with that. Yeah.
And you have a third?
No, that's it. That's it.
Connection. What do you?
With the human connection facilitation, that is really when I'm sitting with someone and we're talking. So some people come in and they don't necessarily want to touch. I would love to be able to show them how healing touch is, but some people just don't want to, for whatever reason, right? I don't press it. I'm not sitting there, gnawing at the bit, trying to get them to give me a hug. Some people just want to sit back and process their thoughts and their feelings. And some people want to cry. And usually if someone's crying, I'll ask them if they'd like to hold hands. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. Yeah. And so that is that aspect as well. Just the talking, connecting, not necessarily touching.
So two stories around that, because touch is the big question.
Yes.
About everything inside of our work, inside a relationship, inside of what's appropriate, I think there's like 8 pages or paragraphs in the dictionary on touch. We use touch so profoundly and so lightly, touch down, don't touch that, or he's touched in the head.
Oh, right. Yeah. I haven't heard that one.
So many ways that we use the word touch. And so when you said that people come in because in some way, shape or form, they are sitting in an energetic possibility of touch, whether they're ready for it or scared of it. And we had a client that it was a woman in her mid 60s. And she had just lived a life of both verbal and physical abuse. And so she was just like hands off with any kind of touch. So she came in the office and she was meeting in our office with a touch pro. I had one of our surrogate partners here because we were hoping maybe she would see some value in working with someone like a surrogate to help open up her touch fears. So how we started was the surrogate sat on one end of the sofa and she sat on the other. And as we were processing, we were able to get her to touch pinkies across the sofa with the surrogate.
Yeah.
And that's how our work started. And so that
Wow.
you offer a space for people to come in and just even be in the energy of the possibility of being touched is fabulous.
Yeah.
Just so sometimes the bottom line for folks who have really gone through trauma.
Oh yeah. Yeah. One of my favorite things I love to hear when I'm in session, especially with a new client, or if I'm only seen them a few times and there hasn't been any touch, is when they say, okay, I think I'm ready to move to the bed. And in my heart, like, I don't make a big deal about it. Like, yeah, I don't want to make a big deal, but in my heart, in my mind, I'm like, yeah, you're ready to do it.
I know.
Because it's a huge step for them to come to that realization. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And being out of touch with ourselves is where it starts. And it can even go back to verbally being out of touch, like not even being able to speak to what it would be like or what I need or what I'm asking for, when I come into a session, they don't know. And so as you and I were talking about listening with different ears and different eyes, because you're listening, you're watching, you're evaluating, so that you can make a conscious next step for them. So brilliant that you sat down the floor, you made yourself lower than he was, and that he was able to come down and be with you. It's just fabulous.
Yeah. I also want to say that the suicide training as assisted prevention, I think it's called ASSIST. So it's applied suicide intervention skills training for prevention. That also helped me a lot to be more aware of how to handle someone who might be who you can see is a bit, I use the term jacked up, where their nervous system is really raised. Also, mental health first aid, that certification as well helped a lot in recognizing if someone is struggling, and just being able to say the words is also very helpful. Are you suicidal, or are you having suicidal ideations? That's really helpful too. Because I deal with a lot of military, but honestly, I feel like it's not necessarily the military or the law enforcement clients. It's I've asked a few other clients who are just really struggling. I'm sorry, was that?
No, that's my.
Oh, was it? I thought I turned everything off.
Be on track with time.
Okay. Yeah. So, but yeah. I really.
Your skill set has really set you up to, almost anyone that comes in that is called to you. You have something to pull out of your toolbox.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
And I can feel your confidence in that toolbox that you have, which is so important, because then when you walk in and they're feeling scared and not sure, your confidence will help them to take that first and next step.
Yeah, that's what I hope. That's what I hope. We do a body scan meditation. So I also do mindfulness-based stress reduction. I learned about cognitive behavioral therapy and complex PTSD. all of these trainings, you know, it's a multidisciplinary understanding of what we're doing and being prepared. And it wasn't until I started I was in situations with clients that I realized I need to educate myself.
Mhm.
Clients are coming and they're trusting and they're sharing, and I don't know what to do with this. You know, someone let me get out there and start taking courses and start talking to people like you and learning and understanding and reading books and doing everything. The one thing I don't want to be is ignorant. I want to be able to, I felt like it was a responsibility to my clients. I owe it to them to be able to hold space and accept what they're sharing and come towards it appropriately. So,
Well, and that's totally why I created, outside of Masters and Johnson's triadic model, which includes bodywork practitioner, the therapist, and the client, right? And I now call it the expanded triadic model, because what I saw back in the 90s when I was working as a hands-on practitioner and a therapist practitioner in a therapist's office, that we can have, one person cannot have all the tools that someone needs. It's, you know, we can continue like you're doing, educating yourself and doing the best you can to have every tool you have, but to have a team approach where, like, if somebody comes in and you say, hey, you know, this guy needs some neck up work before he's doing neck down work, you know, you'll call me now. Or, you know, once you get more into this community of who are those, what I call the neck up folks, or the talk pros, and the neck down folks, or the touch pros, right? What do we need to give this person wraparound service? There is no DSM
right.
coding that I'm looking for that puts this guy in a pigeonhole, sort of, or this person in a pigeonhole. And then, okay, this is what we do because you have this code. What I hear you saying is, you know, I'm hoping and wanting to prepare myself for whoever comes in the space. And if I don't have that tool, I know somebody that does, and we continue to work together as a team approach and a wraparound service.
Right.
So,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, it's very important. I have often heard clients come in and say, I'm just so tired of the therapy and the drugs and the psychiatrists. It's not doing anything. It's not getting anywhere. And I feel better when I'm here through touch.
Yeah.
I feel safe. This feels good. Does it last forever? You know, no, it's not going to last forever, but it feels good in the moment and a few days later.
And you know where to go now because you know that there's tools.
Yeah.
And that was the second thing I wanted to share with you, as far as people looking at, you know, the standard remedies that have been drugs or surgery, or, you know, like there is integrative medicine now that is on board. And so we're following those, we're all riding on the coattails of the medical conversation with the mental health collaboration.
Yes.
So my daughter, poor thing, yeah, poor thing, she's my daughter. I put that in it's in the book that my children who have turned into incredible women in spite of their not so normal mom. But she's a poor thing because she rented a house in Telluride, Colorado for 2 months to go skiing. Right?
Wow.
Second day on the slope, she breaks her leg. And not just one place, 2 places, and the top near the knee is all shattered. The tibia is all shattered. So, you know, big stuff going on, all the families involved. And so I quietly asked for the exact right doctor to be assigned to her, you know, mentally or spiritually or energetically. So she writes and tells me that her surgeon just came in and she feels really good about him. He came in and he took her hand as he told her what they were going to do to her leg.
Oh, wow. That's incredible.
And I'm getting teary because in so many ways that told me he was the exact right person.
Right,
And it
right.
told me that our work is working.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's really
So
beautiful.
she's up, she's good now. She's got a walker on now. All the family's making plans to go out and hang out with her. So my nephew arrives today, I think. So he's on food duty. And
For
so yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful. I'm glad she's doing better. And I'm so glad you put it out in the universe that you wanted that doctor that was right for her.
And
That's beautiful.
it's a testimony of where the medical field is going.
Yeah, definitely.
Right.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So I do also want to mention my course that I'm going to be releasing at the end of March. One thing that I want to do, and this is something that I've had my eye on since 2018, I wanted to start a company and hire more people to do what I do. In my head, I always thought, I want to have a place where everybody could come and get massages or do yoga, maybe a little psychotherapy or coaching, kind of like a wellness center, but to start off first with platonic touch. And so I realized through talking to other people that I first need to train people how to do that. And so this is my first step. And, due to insecurity and self-doubt and not feeling like I didn't know enough, I've been dragging my feet for years. And this is the time, 2022, to release it. So I am releasing a 100-hour, which we've never had before, Certified Platonic Touch Practitioner course, because I want to be very aware of COVID restrictions. It's going to be a hybrid of virtual and in person. There are 3 phases to this course, and each phase is going to focus on a different area of 1, being a practitioner, 2, running a business, which is the biggest, I think, thing that people have a hard time doing, is learning what it means to be a business owner and run your own business. And then the 3rd phase is the experiential. So where they would come here, I'm going to be offering some space to stay here in my home, and also offering my house as a safe space for us to learn. I think body work, or the term that you use, somatic arts, is something that has to be done in person. It really does. And also taking from my experience with Cuddle Sanctuary's professional cuddler training, is that almost womb feeling, that camaraderie you get when you're with people who are doing what you're doing, and you're really being supported. And so I want to create that here, where I'll have different clients. So they'll be able to actually, for those individuals, practitioners who haven't started seeing clients, they'll actually be able to get their hands on clients. We'll also do some networking, which is part of the business aspect. So they'll be comfortable once they go back to their community, they'll be comfortable to network and talk about what it is that they're doing. And the course is really not just for professional cuddlers, but it's also for other types of therapists and practitioners and healers, people who really want to bring another type of touch, another type of healing modality to their repertoire of services. Right. People who want to experiment or understand a little bit more what touch can be. And even for themselves, being able to understand their own boundaries, their own energy, and to be able to ask for what they want from their partner and from people around them as well, to maybe move past any shame they may be harboring about what touch is and what it means, and even to recognize that they can accept touch, that it's not a selfish act to ask someone, will you put your hands on my shoulders, or can you give me a hand massage, or I'd really like to massage your feet, or whatever it might be, So that's what I'm doing. like I said, the first module is a practitioner module with 20 different, or I'm sorry, the first phase is the practitioner module with 20 different modules within it. The second one is a viable business module with 14 different modules. And then the third is the experiential training module, which has 4 different. And that third one will be here in Germantown, Maryland.
Well,
So I'm very excited about it.
Together, you're ready to go.
Yeah.
So have me come in and speak virtually, or I'm coming through DC probably again in April.
Oh, perfect. That might be perfect timing.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
Okay.
so it starts at the end. I don't have my page up yet, but if anybody is interested, they can go to my website, go to the contact us, and there's a little form there you can fill out and send it to me. The page will, with more information, will be available. Whoops. Within a few days. I'd hoped to get it up today, but I haven't been able to, and I'm still trying to figure out the whole website thing. I'm definitely not a web designer. So by next week it'll be up with more information. But yeah, I'm hoping we'll start at the end of March, and by April we'll have towards the end of April, people will be here. Okay. Maybe we can time it perfectly when you're back in DC. Yeah. So you can come in and talk to my cohort.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
Or online if we don't.
Yeah, right.
Put me in like we did for your other group.
Yeah, I have somebody else coming in to do a 20-minute discussion. Her name's Portia Williams, and she does the assist training. So the suicide prevention training. Oh, and I just wanted her to come in and talk for a few 15-20 minutes about how it affected her and how it's helped, and the people that she's helped through it. So
it sounds wonderful. Great course.
Yeah.
Of course. We'll have to talk how we can get it up on our IMBT site so that people
that'd be wonderful.
Know how to find you. Yeah,
thank you. Yeah. With the amount of self-doubt, which still, rears its head, it's really beautiful to hear you say, to hear you just be supportive. It means a lot to me. I take that very deeply.
Oh, well, you're one of the team. You're one of the gang now. You're not getting away.
Thank you.
We want to put everybody to work. And I really believe the more of us there are, the stronger we are. And, we don't have the answers to everything. So I've set it up. We'll get you on our Facebook page. We're generating and creating a new, we've had one for surrogates, a private Facebook page where people can meet, like you said, bringing people together so they can talk about cases or, right. Education's always available when you meet with other people. So we are putting together a new private Facebook page for practitioners and.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah, so I'll let you know. And that's the way to get your word out too.
Awesome. This is wonderful.
It has been wonderful. Thank you so much. And, best of everything in your commitment to yourself and others, and that your goals continue to expand, and that you bring this message in the word to a world that really, the time is now. After, I think COVID, if we could see a bright side of it, it has our attention about how important touch is, and being out of touch with ourselves or each other. It's been a big awakening. So the timing is now. Yeah.
I think so.
All right. Well, have a blessed day, and we'll be in touch.
Great. Thank you so much. Can you stop recording?
Yeah. I should have said that in the